Okay, I'm recording now. Let's just have a little look around. I can't see out the window, though. Can
Oh,
I?
man.
I can't.
All right. Let's do this thing.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Anatomy of Marriage podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
And I'm Seth Studley, a.k.a. the driver today for our trip. And we are on our way to the Wild Goose Festival in North Carolina. And
Say it right.
Nakalana. And we're literally driving up a mountain on I-26 right now.
See if I can turn it around. Hold on. Keep talking.
And this is the first time that we've ever done a podcast in a car. This might be the first time a podcast has ever been done in a car.
No, it's not.
Well, a video cast plus with microphones while the driver is driving. That might have been
In other words, we're really being dangerous.
really being dangerous. And
My ears are popping.
yeah, my ears are popping too.
Oh.
And yeah.
All right. So we wanted to talk about, do you want to talk about family of origin first?
Yeah, let's do that. As we are in South Carolina right now, of course, my family, I'm from South Carolina, and all my family, my aunts, my uncles, my brothers, my cousins, mom and dad, grandma, we're with everybody, right? And it is appropriate, I feel, that we talk more about family of origin because every single time I come here, I feel like I'm navigating the family of origin thing. And there's this one quote, actually I think Jesus said it, I don't know, but he talks about like you can never
Here's a quote.
you can never go back home. And of course I just butchered that, but I think I understand what that quote means. And I've been away from home probably about 15 years now, and it's so weird. And if anybody has grown up, moved away, and stayed there and created their own family, and then you go back to your family of origin, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it feels like you have to go back in time and you have to navigate all these old relationships, but with a muddied view of what you were back then, of who you were back then, and then combined with the view of who you are now. And it's really trippy. And every single time I come back, there's this weird tension. You know, we talked a lot about Bowen family systems in an earlier episode, and I feel like I'm just navigating all that stuff. And okay, tell us about breakfast this morning.
Well, it's just crazy. I feel like because we're not in this family normally,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we're not used to it anymore, or you're
Mm-hmm.
not used to it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's all this assumption, like your grandma thinks your mom doesn't want her to come over, and then
Mm-hmm.
your mom thinks that we should all be eating at this time, but no
Right.
one says anything or
Yeah.
asks or like clarifies. It's all like fully assumed
Mm-hmm.
and then acted upon. The assumption is 1,000% acted upon.
Right.
And then the reaction to the assumption is
to the
just
action, yeah.
yeah, not even to the action. Like it's like there's an assumption, then there's a response to the assumption,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a reaction to the response, and no one questions it. No
Yeah.
one thinks, "Wait, should I have thought this through, or maybe ask a clarifying question, or
Mhm, mhm.
maybe I don't know." There's just like endless amounts of that assumption and
Yeah, and there's a couple of topics that I wanted to talk about. And again, I'm driving, and then I also have to program some things in my GPS in a minute here, which is multitasking to the max, but it's funny. So I am not going to have the correct definitions in mind, like when we talk about family therapy terms, and I'm thinking of the rubber fence concept. And think about it. If you are a person in a family of origin, and imagine your family, your house, whatever, is the fence, and you can, and this combined with the idea of mixed messages and double binds, you think certain things are encouraged, but once you do those things that are encouraged, and once you go past a certain point, they let you know, like dad,
that it isn't okay.
that it isn't okay. And so it's really confusing. And this is totally how I grew up, and even today it's crazy. And I probably will get off topic and rant, and I know you don't like that, but again, we don't have any notes. We're just doing this off of the top of our heads kind of stuff. I took a video, which we'll post on Facebook, and my dad has knickknacks all over the house, right? And it
That's
says...
polite way to say it.
Yeah, a museum. Hey, there's that zip line thing you wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's cool. And little signs of hey, be yourself, you know, be who you are, or don't be afraid, or don't fear, or all these kind of quasi motivational things. But if you actually did those things, it would cause all kinds of chaos.
Yeah, you
know
have actually done those things. You've been yourself.
Right.
You've been like sort of authentically you and wanting to.
I've tried to.
You've tried to, and
right.
and gotten punished is the wrong word, but like reprimanded or shamed.
Shamed, and the idea of the rubber fence is you can go so far, but the rubber fence bounces you back, and you know that you're getting bounced back when you're getting shamed or getting questioned, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? You know, why would you go here or do that? Like, even today, like, so we're on vacation, right?
Our vacation.
Our vacation.
The only vacation we get.
The only vacation a year that we get or take off or whatever. And we're driving far places with no kids, and things that my mom and dad would be like, what? You're driving that far? Oh my gosh. What time are you going to be back? What time are you leaving? Who's going to be there? We're like, can't we just go?
Yeah.
You know? And
well, like last night we went up to North Carolina and we saw the Punch Brothers.
Yeah.
We just like randomly found out that they were playing in North Carolina that day, and it was like an hour and 20-minute drive, and we're like, let's go. Like, this is amazing. Like, it's such a cool venue, all that stuff. And then
it was almost like you're leaving this late to go out to do that.
It was like I was 17.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have your own autonomy. Like, how dare you? You have, like, we don't even have our kids to watch. They're with his parents. We're staying with his grandma. But for some reason, us deciding to do something that we didn't get, like, prior consent on is conflict inducing.
Yeah.
Like,
so
it makes people upset.
We would call that also different levels of enmeshment or fusion, you know, as we talked about in the last podcast. And we're not bashing our family. They're great. I love them. However, the navigation that you have to do is just fascinating to me, and I want a little bit of your perspective, like this time, of how you've navigated through this. Because earlier we were talking about we have to have a growth mindset and response flexibility when we travel, and I imagine that's because you're not used to my family.
Yeah.
How do you navigate it?
Well, I mean, I look at it from, like we talked about, and it's going to sound really uppity, snooty, like mean, but it's a different level, a different plane. I won't say level because I don't want it to sound like a hierarchical or whatever, but like we're thinking on a different plane of thought. Like, we're trying to think globally about our whole family. Like, when people want to go swimming, does everyone want to go swimming? Are some people hungry? Should we take a 10-minute break before we go swimming to put sunscreen on? Should we all eat before we go? Like, you know, things like that. Like, not just what do I want to do, but what does everyone want to do, and what's sort of collectively the best for the whole. And I think that your family really doesn't look at things like that. It's like, oh, he'll be fine. She's not that hungry.
Yeah.
We just ate biscuits. It's fine. Like, everything is what's that word?
It's weird.
Like, discounted. Everything is like, no, it doesn't matter. Well, don't talk about it. She won't cry. Like, everything is like that.
Right. It's hard to be an individual with individual wants and preferences within a
preferences
but within an enmeshed group, family like mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the way
I don't want to do that, Dad, or I don't want to do that. You just get looked at like, well, what's wrong with you? Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, well, and the way that I think I'm dealing with it is to try to honestly, like, just be like, well, whatever they want to do, we just do it. Except with the two exceptions of the Punch Brothers concert and the Wild Goose Festival.
Right.
I know they didn't want us to go, but it's like, we're gonna go because we flew all this way, we spent all this money, we're gonna go to these two amazing things that we want to go to, and people will be fine, and we know that they'll be fine.
So here's a tip, an intervention to if you are hearing our story and saying, oh my goodness, that's just like my family. The things that have worked with my family as far as interventions is you politely say, this is what we are going to do, and you kind of, you take a lead on it, and
What does that mean?
Okay. And this is funny because this comes with partially maybe some of my, I don't know, respect maybe that I have within my family because I'm a therapist, or we do successful things, and also birth order. So
yeah, you're the oldest son.
Right, the oldest son. So if I tell my dad or mom or grandma, listen, this is what we planned, this is what we're doing, and that's it. This is what we're doing. But say it in a kind, respectful way, and then we're planning to spend time with you guys here, so it becomes much less ambiguous, and it's not like I'm doing my best to clear away any assumptions, right? We are leaving at 7 p.m., and we are going to Hot Springs, North Carolina, and we're going to be back late tonight, so leave a door open, and this is what we're doing, you know? And then I make sure that the kids are okay, that my mom, who's mainly primary caregiver when we're here with kids, she does all the fun stuff with them mostly. Dad does too, but whatever. And set them up for success, and just say, yeah, this is what we're doing, and we're looking so forward to it. We got our things online, and you know.
Well, and what it is, now that you're saying it like that, is that you're, so the way that I think one of the ways that your family communicates is often via, they communicate through conflict, right?
They communicate through assumptions, through assumed preferences of the group.
But it's through conflict. It's like, well, I wanted to do this, right? It's never like, oh, this is something that I think would be fun, and I planned on it, and I'll be good.
Right.
It's always like a defense sort of.
It's a how about this? It's a reaction.
Yes, there we go. That's what I'm trying to say.
So it's an assumed thing that you think everybody will want to do it, or it's fun.
Yeah. It's very like egocentric.
Or it's normal.
Like you think it's like your mom thinks everyone's going to want to do what she wants to do, and then if you bring up an idea, she'll react very strongly, like, "What, you don't like my idea?"
Right.
And so you're actually presenting. We're going to go to Hot Springs, North Carolina, to this festival, and you're not doing it out of a reaction, which I think when I watch your family talk to one another, that's how they do most conversational stuff, is reactionary.
Yeah.
So then everyone's always on the defense.
Whoa!
What is happening? Holy cow! Sheesh, that was a terrifying.
Yeah, sorry.
That guy zipped.
Oh man.
What is this?
Ain't cool.
Why is this?
Oh
going
well.
on?
Well, more time to podcast.
But yeah, that's what I feel like is that you're actually presenting a new way way to communicate that your family isn't used to.
Right.
And so it
works.
It works because they're like taking a little bit like, oh, this isn't what we normally do. So
it's almost a relief too, because then they're not having to fight through clearing out the assumptions.
Look at that guy's license plate. It's drawn with Sharpie.
That is funny.
What am I seeing?
And it says permanent, like permanent plates on a trailer.
Florida.
But permanent is spelled wrong.
This is the weirdest thing ever.
That is funny.
Anyway.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, the more that I watch it, like I said, I have to treat everything like, I just go along with whatever. And then I'm fully aware I will get in trouble for things I didn't even do.
Yes.
Like the sunburn thing with the boys.
Yeah.
I know no matter what I do, if I put sunscreen on them, if I don't put sunscreen on them, if I buy them a hat, I'll be in the wrong. If I buy them a shirt, I'll be in the wrong.
Yeah, but only for a minute. But if you say, you know what, I don't want my kid to be sunburned, this is what we're doing, that clears everything up, right? And Mom actually apologized to me today. She's like, I am so sorry. I can't believe that I just wasn't aware, because it was cloudy and the kids still got a little bit sunburned and stuff.
They got a lot sunburned.
Yeah. And so on the flip side, and here's the thing, like being a family therapist and understanding these things, and then being from a family that is kind of sometimes crazy making, which I think all families are, if we get down to it,
in their own way, yeah.
In their own way. I want to normalize this, and I love my parents very much, and that, I believe, is coming from a quite enlightened view, and that doesn't, I'm not sounding weird or anything, but just from an understanding. And I get caught up in it too, even in our own arguments and stuff. Sometimes I can be quite reactionary rather than proactive and assume this and
that's
get funky with this.
Yeah, this trip in particular, I think just because of the podcast over the last year since we've been here. It's been over a year since we've been here. And I think that all the stuff we've talked about with family of origin, all of the things that we've just sort of explored, and then now we're actually going back to your family and seeing it like in real time.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, I don't know, that to me is more of...
You mean it's interesting to watch it play out, is what you're saying?
It helps me understand you better when I see, like, your entire family system is acting that way, not just one of you. Because, right, in our family structure, you're the only one that acts that way. And so I'm like, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? But then I look and I'm like, oh, they're literally all doing it.
Right.
Like, every one of you is assuming, and I mean, it really is. It's like everything about how... kind of just how you function from day to day.
Right.
I'm seeing an entire family do that.
So how is that? Because obviously we don't live with my family. I am the air quotes outsider to your family, right? So think about how you have to, navigate my family when we're back here in South Carolina and stuff, and how I don't have to navigate many things with your family. However, it's a different kind of funky, And I'm not saying that either system is good or bad. We all have our own systems and what we're used to. And
what's the question? Is there a question?
No, I want some, because we talked about we're doing a commentary on my family. Like, let's talk about your family, like some of the weird stuff, like people are very independent, but your dad has a saying, still waters run deep, and what that means is you guys are like solid and you're not reactionary to anything, and you're very proactive and you're very kind of across the board, which is so interesting to me. Sometimes it seems zombie-like to me, but how are you, what role do you play in your system in that way, would you say? Because you're zany and funky.
I'm an agitator.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I just thought of it.
You stir stuff up? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't think you stir stuff up.
Not in a bad way, like in a fun way.
Like you mix it up, like, hey,
like like when you're shopping at the grocery store.
You're the comic relief.
No, you're shopping at the grocery store and it's just music playing. Nothing good.
Oh, right.
And then all of a sudden, like, Trolls Disco comes on, and you go,
yeah.
"Oh yeah,
there
that's my role."
Okay, so you're the Trolls Disco soundtrack.
I'm the Trolls Disco
in a music kind of world.
Yeah,
I like that analogy.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think my family is so different because we want to let people be autonomous.
Right.
We don't like our families are so opposite in the fact that, like, if we were all, this would never happen for one. But if my entire family wanted to go eat dinner in Seattle, which would never happen, and Carrie didn't want to go, no one would pressure her.
Right.
We would just go, all right, we'll see you when we get back.
Yeah, so I think that if you look at it like a pendulum swinging, my family's on this side and yours is way over here.
Yeah.
And I think there's negative effects of both of them, because in your family, because everyone is so autonomous, that almost has edged out real relationship. Like, think about your relationship with even your own dad, and especially your older brothers and sisters. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not because, oh, well, they're just weird. It's that I don't believe in that. From a family therapy point of view, I'm not buying that, I guess, right? And I think that has served as a function for so long that getting really close and being really candid and silly and stuff is more uncomfortable, and it's not worth the uncomfortableness of doing it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure if that's, I mean, I don't know. But I could see that being a thing.
Like, I think that's a real thing, because you have been so autonomous and not pressuring people. It edged out, like, connection and relationship. I'm just letting you be who you are, which is a great gift. And also, because I'm pushing you to do that, it doesn't matter if we spend time together ever or do special things. Remember, I asked you a couple days ago, did you ever go, like, one-on-one with your dad or mom to breakfast or lunch or dinner? You're like, no. And
I mean, there's a handful of times I probably went with my mom, but remember, I'm one of 5 children. I'm not one of 3.
Yeah.
So it is harder the
Yeah.
more kids
So
you've
that
got.
yeah, that's a definite.
But I mean, I
factor
think
too.
that in my mind, like, yeah, I agree that I don't think it's a function of trying to avoid deep relationships. It just happened that's how it happened, right? So I think my grandparents, the ones that I knew, because I didn't know my other ones, but my dad's parents were like relationship avoiders. Right? And so I think that, well, I don't know. That's not fair to say because I don't really know. I think I'm trying to interpret a generational thing and put a meaning on it that is not what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's just another layer. And of course, going through the genogram, if you guys haven't checked out the genogram episode or checked that out online, there is a lot of information that can come from that. So what Melanie is saying, she's talking about generational stuff like wars, World War II, World War I.
But like, I mean,
These
I've
things
got so many
affect-
weird, like my grandpa was German and my grandma was Native American.
Right.
So they were like socially not accepted back when they were in their prime.
Right.
And had to kind of like fringe live or whatever. And then that creates a communication, unintentional communication style that transfers down to their children, my dad, right? And then just all sorts of weird stuff. It's like impossible to say what caused or made or whatever our family be the way it is, but
sometimes there's, like we talked about it before, the nodal events that like clearly shape something, like
trauma,
a trauma or something violent that happened, or something, winning the lottery or something. These can be, I don't know if that's so much positive, but huge events, right? And sometimes there just aren't events. It's kind of a slow simmer of, this is just what we gravitate towards as a family, and it's a culmination of these small things that make up who you are as a person, and also certainly who you are in your family of origin, which it just remains fascinating to me. So do you have a review that we can read on hand?
No.
Simple as that.
I couldn't possibly get one either.
You couldn't get one? All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about for this episode?
No, I don't know. We're sort of just processing family of origin stuff being here.
Yeah.
And
it's a trip. But I think the main thing that has helped us is having a growth mindset and having response flexibility. And then from a couple's point of view, making sure that her and I are like this the whole time, not siding with one parent or the other, or I'm not going back to old ways when I just want to kind of keep the peace within the family, and then tell Melanie to lighten up and just quit being weird when it's my family and myself that may be being awkward. And
which that kind of happened yesterday.
Yeah.
For like a second, and
it
was
for
like
maybe 2 seconds about the sunburn thing.
Yeah, it was like a weird minute of, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like clearly you sort of shifted back in to your family's way of doing stuff, because it was like in a way it's just easier. Like,
it's
just
easier.
Go with it. Don't say anything. Don't
and
whatever.
Again, it's not like the wrongest thing. It's not like,
No.
oh yeah, I was started being weird or abusive. No, it's not that. It's not our style that we have created together. And I want couples to really, really understand that me and Melanie are creating new things, right? We take
they're different from both of our families.
Right,
like
right.
Our family system in our home, you and I and our children, is not the same as my parents.
Right, and it's not the same as my mom and dad, right? We're trying to take the best of both.
The best of each.
Yeah, so I want couples to really use that as an intervention whenever you travel, or if you live near both sets of parents or whatever. And this is so important.
It's the millennium positive family ego mass.
Oh, why did you create it? Why didn't I?
I don't know. I created it, not you.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that is basically the premise of that, where you take the best, like you identify what's not great, and then you identify what is great from your families of origin, and then you create the new one together, because
and you stick with that, because you're gonna get tested from either you're gonna be tempted to get pulled back into whatever maladaptive reaction that your family kind of created, and it's really important. So Melanie knows that I am here for her. I'm trying to do a podcast. Crunchy McCruncherton. And I don't know what I was going to say. It's really important for Melanie to know that I stand beside her, and then likewise, so we can walk into it. And that really creates
optimistically
structure.
strong.
That's right. And it really creates structure, and my family will understand that too. Like when we are less ambiguous and they find that we are together on the same thing, then they're gonna respect that. And if they don't, then that's a whole nother conversation. But usually you just get the idea. I think I got a mosquito down in my leg.
Right now?
I think so. Anyway. Mosquito.
The last thing I was going to say, too, is the idea about, positive, being optimistically strong, and together on everything. And, like, even teaching our children how to identify the different family of origin things that they are experiencing. So I'll tell the boys, I'm like, because they get confused. They're like, I don't know why I can't go, do this thing. I don't want to watch TV. I want to play on the Switch or whatever, but your mom doesn't want them to. And there's no real logical reason. It's just what's in her head. And so I'll say to the boys, like, I know that this feels unfair, but this is just how, Bickett is, and we're going to be okay with that, and we're lovers still, and we're not going to get upset about it. And it helps. I think it's actually helpful for them to see us be able to cope logically and lovingly and positively, like optimistically strong, I guess.
I hope it's helpful and not confusing. I mean, they are little kids.
But I mean, they get it. Like,
but they do get it, yeah.
The basic thing of it, though, is like it's just love. Like sometimes we do things that we don't care to do, like drive 45 minutes to the fish camp,
right,
and eat there instead of 10 minutes down at Tadpoles or whatever. Like, but it doesn't matter. But
so we're just exercising that response flexibility. That's a hard word. Togetherness for you and I, and then also trying to be aware of how our kids are reacting emotionally and what their emotional awareness of it is. And hopefully that's just good parenting. I hope so. Maybe. I hope
that I just hope that they learn from it. But
sorry.
Anyway, my arm is dying here.
All right. So hope you guys enjoy this episode from Sokolana to Nakalana.
That's South Carolina to North Carolina. That's what he just said.
That's how we say it here. And if you like the show, go rate it and review it on iTunes, please, wherever you get your podcast. And also, please remember, please remember, patreon.com/anatomy of marriage. If you like getting marriage advice and marriage therapy via a car podcast, then go and donate. Keep it cool, you guys. We want to thank also our sponsors, marriagesupply.com, and go to marriagesupply.com for a 10% discount until August 31. And the promo code is, what is it, Mel?
10 from AOM.
10 from AOM. And have a good weekend. Love you guys.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.